All right, today we're putting on our detective hats. We're about to decode thousands of years of human history. We're talking migrations, vast empires, ancient peoples, all of it packed inside the DNA of just one single person from the Syrian coast. So that's the big question, isn't it? How much story can possibly be hiding in our genes? This isn't just about a pie chart. It's about uncovering an epic tale of survival and movement that goes all the way back to the dawn of civilization. So let's start peeling back those layers. And here it is, our very first clue. This is an ancient ancestry breakdown. And right off the bat, you can see it's complex. It's this incredible mosaic of different peoples. You've got the Amorites, a major power in ancient Syria, the Hittites, these legendary warriors from Anatolia, the seafaring Canaanites, and even Romans from the peak of their empire. This is so much more than a family tree. It's like a map of ancient worlds colliding. Okay, so to make any sense of this puzzle, we have to start at the beginning. We're going to kick off our investigation with the oldest and biggest pieces of this genetic story. And those pieces have their roots deep in the Bronze Age Levant. First things first, let's get our bearings. The Levant, it's this really crucial piece of land on the eastern Mediterranean. We're talking about the area of modern-day Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, and Palestine. For literally thousands of years, this was one of the most important crossroads in the entire world, a bridge connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe. So the most dominant group we see in these results? The Amorites. The statue you see gives us a face from the distant past, and the map shows their heartland. They were a Semitic-speaking people, which means their language was related to modern Hebrew and Arabic. And over 4,000 years ago, they became a huge power in this region, right where our DNA sample comes from. This is really our foundational layer.
Now, closely related to the Amorites were the Canaanites, and their famous descendants, the Phoenicians. This map shows just how much they dominated the coast, with these legendary city-states like Byblos and Tyre. These folks were incredible traders. They were innovators, and they're another core part of this ancient Levantine identity.
And here's the proof in the pudding. I know this timeline looks pretty dense, but the key thing to see is right here. We're seeing direct genetic matches to actual Amorite and Canaanite remains that date as far back as 2250 BC. I mean, wow, this confirms an unbroken line stretching back more than 4,000 years. The story of the Syrian coast really begins with these foundational Bronze Age peoples. Okay, so our investigation now takes us just a little bit north of the Levant into a region called Anatolia, what we call modern-day Turkey, to explore a really powerful connection to the Hittites. The Hittites were an Indo-European people, so they were part of this huge language family that spans from India all the way to Europe. And they built this absolutely formidable empire. As you can see on the map, their territory stretched right down to the northern Levant, sharing a border with the Amorites and Canaanites. They weren't just neighbors. They were rivals, they were allies, they were trading partners, and all that interaction explains why we see such a significant chunk of Hittite DNA in the results. Now our story enters a whole new phase. We've got this foundation of Levantine and Anatolian peoples, right? Well, now the Syrian coast becomes a total magnet for conquerors, for traders, and for migrants from all across the ancient world. And every single one of them left their genetic mark. The results show a clear Hellenic or Greek connection. This almost certainly comes from ancient seafaring peoples like the Mycenaeans. Starting around 1400 BCE, their ships were just crisscrossing the Mediterranean, setting up trade outposts and colonies, and, inevitably, leaving genetic ties with the people living along the coast of the Levant. And then came the Romans. For centuries, the Roman Empire and later the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire basically united the entire Mediterranean. This map just shows you how the empire literally connected all these populations we've been talking about, the Levantine, Anatolian, and Greek peoples, all under one rule. Soldiers, merchants, administrators, they all moved around freely, creating this vast interconnected genetic network. And this really just nails it, doesn't it? This place was not some isolated backwater. It was a bustling cosmopolitan hub where entire civilizations met, traded, and, blended together. And wow, this globe really puts that all into perspective. It's plotting hundreds of ancient DNA matches. Do you see how densely packed they are? Right around the Eastern Mediterranean, the Levant, Anatolia, Greece, Italy. It is a perfect visual confirmation of this region's role as the absolute nexus of the ancient world. So for our final section, let's connect all of this ancient history to right now. I mean, how do these ancient identities translate into the kind of report you might get from a modern DNA testing company? So check this out. On the left, you've got our ancient breakdown with all those specific peoples. And on the right, you've got a modern 23andMe result for the very same person. You can see the categories have totally changed. They've gotten broader, more regional. Let's break down exactly what that means. Okay, so here's the decoder ring. When a modern test says Levantine, it's basically grouping together all those foundational peoples we talked about, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Phoenicians. And when it says Northern West Asian, it's primarily capturing that deep, persistent ancestry from Anatolia, like the Hittites. It all lines up. And you might be wondering about this 6.8% Italian and Maltese in the modern results. Well, what do you think that is? That is the echo of the Roman and Byzantine Empires. It's the genetic legacy of all those soldiers and traders who connected the entire Mediterranean for 1,000 years. And in the end, that's what's so incredible about all of this. Our genes aren't just some biological blueprint. They are a historical record. They carry these faint echoes of ancient journeys, the rise and fall of empires, and the endless mixing of peoples at the great crossroads of the world. It's a living museum inside each of us. It really makes you think, doesn't it? If one person's genes can hold all of this incredible history from just one corner of the world, what amazing stories are waiting to be discovered in yours?